Hello, valued viewers, and welcome to me on the back of the Range Rover, sitting amongst nature. Today I'd like to talk about the new 2025 Defender Octa. As many of you may know, we are big Land Rover people on the channel, and I thought what a better way to speak about this new ultimate Defender than sitting on the tailgate of the Range Rover in nature. It's a bit drizzly and kind of cozy, so I thought this would be a nice thing to do. It is, as ever, very awkward, but we'll try to get through it. When the car was first announced, we kind of saw this image of the glowing red light on the steering wheel being very reminiscent of, I guess, the new SV Sport model. So we could kind of gather from those images that the car would be like an SVR model of the Defender, but they're just calling it the Octa, which some people are kind of strange about, but I think it's a really cool name. And I think it gets across the fact that it's going to be like the special version of the car. Within the past couple of days, they actually took the camo off for the first time and gave us all the numbers and figures. And, you know, funnily enough, I contacted our local dealer about one, this being before I knew the starting price of it was going to be $152,000. I didn't expect it to be cheap, but I also didn't expect it to be that much. But so it is not an inexpensive vehicle. So the first thing that really jumps out to me on the spec sheet here, aside from the price, of course, is that they're using the twin turbocharged V8 with electric assist from the BMW M5. And that's going to give you 626 horsepower. But I think the craziest figure about this entire car is the 0 to 60 speed being 3.8 seconds. That is faster than a Lotus Emira. So you can really get the idea of how insane this car is just by a couple of figures that they have here. Now, this car also being a V8, I was kind of thinking, like, how is this going to be any different than the normal Defender V8, which is already a pretty crazy car, has, I think, over 500 horsepower already, but that's the supercharged V8 that you find in, well, this car, for example, I believe. But the new Octa is going to have that M5 engine, twin turbo as opposed to supercharged with the, I guess, a hybrid assist. So it's going to make it tremendously fast for being a massive SUV. And I think important to note is that they've only shown it to us in the 110 format. And I can't remember if they did that initially with the V8, if it was originally 110 and then the 90 came out a bit afterwards. But I'm really wondering if they do come out with a 90 version, because if I were in the market for one, that's certainly the one that I would get. I like the look of the 90 a bit more. I think it's more toy Tonka truck-ish. I think it's cute. I had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with one 1 or 2 years ago, and I just thought it was the best thing ever. So I think if I were to purchase a new Octa, I would kind of ask around and see if we're going to do a 90 version, and maybe if it would be a bit cheaper as well. But I know that a few journalists have said that even the standard 90 V8 is too powerful for that platform, being a tall and very short wheelbase vehicle. And on top of that, you'd be getting an additional 100 or so horsepower. So it might be unsafe, which is maybe why we haven't seen a 90 version of it revealed to us yet. But I'm hoping they do. I think it would look really cool. I think with several exterior and interior changes that kind of elevate the car from the normal Defender, In terms of the interior, though, I am kind of disappointed, at least with, I guess, what they call the Edition 1 version, because I don't understand this obsession with like the textile cloth seats now, and especially in cars that are quite expensive. And I understand that the Defender's like the rugged, off-roady, do anything type of car, and they want it to be, resistant to whatever you throw at it. But I think for a car that's $152,000 starting price, I would like the seats to be a bit more luxurious. And the seats that they show us here in the press release just remind me of a Fiat 500 Abarth. I think they just look extremely cheap. And they just have this like chopped carbon on the back, which I'm also not really a fan of. But there's also, I saw the other pictures of like a full leather version where the seats look a bit cooler. But I think for this car, I really would have just preferred the seats from the SVR Range Rover Sport, or the SV, I guess they're calling it now. I don't know why the R has gone, but I would have preferred those seats because I think, they just look fantastic. They really suit the just the personality of the car, and I think they're one of the cooler bucket seats on the market, to be honest. So kind of disappointed in terms of the seats. So as I understand it, this car is not just going to be the ultimate Defender for on-road use and just being absolutely ridiculously fast for no reason. It's also going to be the most off-road capable. And for me, the coolest thing on the spec sheet here is that this sucker is going to be able to wade in almost 3.5 feet of water. I think they claim it's more than any Defender before it, so I'm assuming that means any production Land Rover ever. Along with the other off-road capability, such and such things that they've put on it, the multi-spoke wheels, they look kind of Bowler Defender Rally-ish inspired. To that point, I gotta say, I think this is really the closest that we're gonna get to having like a Bowler Rally Defender as a production car. But I was really hoping that they might have put a little more like Bowler inspired designs, as Bowler has been acquired by JLR. So I was hoping that this car would have been a bit more similar to that. But I know they got to keep it like really luxurious and upmarket. But I'm hoping that maybe they do something with Bowler in the future. That's something like a production model. But as far as the Octa goes, I think that's kind of where we are in terms of like the rally inspired stuff, fast on road and fast off road, which makes me very drawn to the car. For my money, after kind of poring over things last night and looking at normal V8 Defenders and the new Octa, I think for my money, which is none, but if I did have money, I would probably just go with a Defender 90 V8. I really like just the look of that car. I like the Alcantara steering wheel. It seems that the Octa does not have the Alcantara steering wheel, which is interesting to me. I think it's more kind of inspired from the Sport SV. One thing about the Octa that I would like to see Land Rover do is give it to us in more colors. They are showing it to us in this kind of goldish color, which is cool. I do like that on Defenders. I don't really like the wheels on this version, but I'm hoping you can get the multi-spokes on your choice of colors, and they're not doing something stupid like with the SV Sport where the Edition 1 is going to be, you can only do blah, blah, blah in certain colors. So I'm hoping they kind of give the customer some more creative freedom in terms of, building the car, especially for such an awesome car. All things considered, with this new Defender Octa, I think if I were to come into a substantial sum of money, I would be very seriously looking at one of these. Again, I'd like to see them do it in a 90 format. I think it would just add to the craziness of it. maybe the 0 to 60 would go down a few points of a second, but 3.8 is already insane. I mean, I can't imagine what that's going to feel like in a car that big. Again, thing I don't like about it is the price. I think compared to a normal V8 Defender, it's, I guess, close to $50,000 more expensive. And I'm assuming you can just attribute that to the engine, because the rest of the car, I mean, I know they've done this and that with it, but what you're really paying for in this car is what I assume to be that BMW engine. That's just an insane combination with this car. But yeah, I think it looks very cool. It's very expensive, obviously. The interior is so-so. I'm excited to see more options with the interior. I would have liked to see them use the regular SV seats, but you know, you can't win them all. But that's the new Defender Octa. Hopefully at some point I'll get to have a look at it in some capacity. Probably not, but we can hope. And I guess thank you guys again for watching. And please let me know what you think of the car in the comments. I think this is a really interesting thing that Land Rover has put out. It's pretty nuts, so let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.